want to do a deeper dig in, specifically, Kelly, because you are such a big part of the MACH Alliance, right? I'm the logistics guy that actually looks at commerce as a touch point. And what I've found is there is this touch point of ours, which is the commerce ecosystem, which has the MACH Alliance and the ability to create this composable environment to say it can be headless, it can operate in any way, you can use us in any way that you want, and I'm giving you everything. I have found it to be a struggle on the logistics side. If you go down to that WMS layer, you go down to the shipping layers as an example, you are still not seeing as much of that adoption on that front. And so why don't we kind of touch on why does this disconnect still persist, right? So the entire ecosystem is not solved for, right? There is a part that is solved, or at least there is a good adoption on that front. So maybe just to educate people and then more from your perspective, right?
Maybe let's talk about the problem, right? And then that way we can bring it to why has it not happened yet. So if you look at the fundamental problem, consumers are buying on more and more channels. As a retailer and a brand, I need to meet those consumers where they are, which might be on social, increasingly with AI, and we know a lot of discovery is going to happen. So your website, your .com becomes part of your selling portfolio, right? So that introduces a whole bunch of complexity on the channel side. If you go back to what happens in the logistics world, let's say I'm a 3PL or a 4PL, I go to a customer and I say, I would like to service you. And the customer says, I need to take B2B orders and I need to take direct orders. And by the way, I need to take marketplace orders and I need to do drop ship. The technology gap is too wide between what the brands and retailers need and what the 3PLs and 4PLs are armed to do. This problem is only going to get deeper. Kelly mentioned the API changes and GraphQL, which means that logistics providers have to keep revving to keep up with the arms race that the brands and retailers necessarily require. And that is, as a side, one of the reasons why we work a lot with logistics providers, because we help them bridge that gap, whether you're UPS or FedEx or anybody else. So the reality of it is the first thing to realize the problems are getting deeper. The second thing is, at the end of the day, you have a lot of legacy and custom systems in this space. So when I started looking at this logistics space, right, in the composable space, you have 10, 20, 30 vendors, they have their APIs. In the logistics world, you have tens of thousands of logistics providers and probably double the number of warehouse management systems. Each of them has at least two, right? You've got a lot of complexity on heterogeneity within the systems. There is legacy to deal with. We all know that EDI continues to be a thing, and it will be. The combination of heterogeneity and legacy have made it incredibly hard to standardize this whole backend from a composability perspective. But we're doing some interesting things to address that on our end, and I'll let Kelly dive into those.
So we're doing quite a few things around composability. We're exposing all of our data and functionality up through individually consumable APIs. So it's about packaged business capabilities. And we're meant to play in this much larger ecosystem of individually consumable applications. We're very much continuing with the principles of MACH and the MACH Alliance. And I think composable is more of the business-centric view, the business-level view here of how you consume this data and functionality. Yeah. Just about any software you build today is going to follow MACH principles by default. Yeah.